Our inductive reasoning provides us with a way to take specific examples and draw a general conclusion. The problem with inductive reasoning is that it can fall apart with one good counterexample. The other type of reasoning that we are going to look at is what's called deductive reasoning. And deductive reasoning is where you draw a conclusion reached based on premises that are assumed to be true. So we're going to take general statements and apply it to a specific case. Example 8 is an example of using deductive reasoning, where we're going to take a set of general statements and we're going to use that to apply to a specific case. So here we have 4 neighbors, Sean, Maria, Sarah, and Brian, each with a different occupation: editor, banker, chef, and dentist. From the following clues, determine the occupation of each neighbor. So here we have to assume that the statements are true, but if we make that assumption, then we have to draw a particular conclusion, which makes it deductive reasoning. So we know that Maria gets home after work, after the banker, but before the dentist. So that tells us that Maria cannot be the banker or the dentist. And so what we could do is we could cross out, based on that first clue, Maria being the banker or the dentist. Now the second clue is that Sarah, who's the last to get home from work, is not the editor. So we can now say that Sarah can't be the editor, and she also can't be the banker, because we know that the banker is not the last to get home based on the clue 1, because Maria comes home after the banker, so the banker must not be the last one home. We can then look at clue 3. The dentist and Sarah leave for work at the same time. Well, that tells us that Sarah is not the dentist. We can cross that out. From the clue 3, we can cross dentist out for Sarah, which now tells us that she has to be the chef. Since we know who the chef is, we can go ahead and cross out Sean, Maria, and Brian for being the chef, because it's Sarah. That in turn shows us that Maria has to be the editor, and so now neither Sean, Sarah, nor Brian can be the editor. Then we use our fourth clue that the banker lives next door to Brian. So that tells us that Brian cannot be the banker, and so we can cross that out, telling us that Brian must be the dentist, so Sean cannot be the dentist, leaving us with the idea that Sean is the banker. So here, this is an example of deductive reasoning, solving these logic puzzles. In your textbook, you'll look at some additional examples of inductive reasoning, and in your homework, you'll be practicing different ways of dealing with both inductive and deductive reasoning.